Hello, we're back with the part two of our interview with JT. As you all know, JT is the men's pastor at Bethel World Outreach Church. He's also an international certified life coach with John Maxwell, and he works with Stephen Mansfield at Great Man as a coach. In short, he's a coach of men. And no better way to have a guest than to have a man coach with us. So let's all welcome JT again to our podcast. Hello, JT.
Hey, Dennis. How you doing, friend?
I'm doing good. All right, JT, for our episode today, we're going to talk about courage because I was trying to look at your Facebook and I saw there a talk that you guys are organizing. It's called Contagious Courage. And I was so curious about what that was. So what does it mean to be courageous and have that contagious courage?
You know, it came out of, I was watching it. Of course, we're all in this pandemic and we're all, been locked down. And I was watching a news conference and a doctor said these words. He says, in order to be contagious, you have to be infected first. And it just really caught my attention. Because the first question I asked myself was, what am I infected with? Am I infected with fear or am I infected with courage? Because whatever I've been infected with, that's what the people around me are going to catch. And it just really, that was a shift for me in this whole thing of I don't want to be a person that spreads fear. And I just thought a lot of guys were probably, like me in the first couple of weeks, just, what's going to happen, just not really knowing what to expect. And, there's so much news out there and so much uncertainty. And I thought, man, I'm a Christian man. Mm-hmm. I need to exhibit courage, not stupidity now, not dumb, but I need to be somebody that spreads courage amongst all this fear. And that's really where that Contagious Courage title came from. And I talked to my guys and they were all, let's do it. And so we've been doing it for the last couple of weeks, having different speakers talking about courage.
That's nice.
And it's been great, man. The feedback has been like, man, we needed this because what you ingest, right, what you take in is what you give out. And so everybody's been watching the news so much that fear had gripped them. And we're just going to break that grip that fear has. And the only way you break it is with courage. So that's how it all started.
That's nice. There's a lot of verses in scripture that tells us be strong and courageous, right? Why do you think courage is so important in our age right now?
Well, like I said, I mean, to combat all the fear that's out there. Yeah. And, a lot of the uncertainty, whenever something's uncertain, obviously it breeds fear. And fear by itself is not bad. I mean, fear can help guide us. If I'm on a mountain and I've got a 1.5-foot path and there's a 250-foot drop on both sides, fear makes me focus on that path because I don't want to fall. But it's when it grips you and paralyzes you and you can't move forward. That's when it's got to be broken. And it really comes in a trust. Courage is, do I trust God? Yeah. Fear is, I don't trust him. And it really comes down that simple for me. Do I trust God and through this, or am I going to trust what everybody says and start fearing and paralyze myself and not become the person I'm supposed to be through this? Because we know we become stronger through pressure. Yeah. Not through ease. So that was really, again, the catalyst for a lot of these thoughts. So man, I gotta be a man of courage. Like you said, I mean, there's too many scriptures that tell me to be strong and courageous. Well, the time to be strong and courageous is when you face something like this, not sitting on your couch watching TV. That doesn't take any courage. Yeah. So it's moments like this that courage is needed.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for scriptures telling me steps on how to be courageous. I couldn't find one. It's just like a direct command, be strong and courageous. I don't know if do you have any tips on how to be courageous? Like, is this something that you get internally or can you learn courage?
Boy, that's a great question. Look, I think it's something that obviously, like anything else, it's a choice. Am I going to choose to take a step when I fear taking that step? And again, it goes back to what I said. Who are we listening to? And who is the voice in our head that we're going to choose to listen to? And it's usually, and it sounds weird to say it, but it's true. It's the loudest voice never wins. And it's that still, soft voice of God amongst all this loud, this loud, contentious, everybody screaming. And, it's that soft voice that I got to learn to listen to, because that's where I'll find my courage. If I can find that voice, I can trust that voice. And then, okay, if you want me to take a step, I'll take a step. Because I've learned not to trust myself. That's for sure. I do not trust myself. I have to trust that small, still voice. And so, I think it starts there. What you choose to listen to and what you choose to trust is the direction that you're going to go.
Yeah. JT, what is the maybe top 3 most courageous thing a man could do?
Oh, man. Super simple. I'm going to make this so simple. It takes courage for a man to be truthful about himself to himself. That takes a lot of courage, right? It takes a lot of courage for a man to be known. A lot of men don't want to be known, right? Because they fear rejection. But not understanding that if you're vulnerable and known to someone else and they reject you, it's actually not rejection, it's a redirection.
It's powerful.
So I got to redirect myself because you ain't helping me. The next thing a man, it takes courage to take responsibility for his own life. That takes courage. And not blame everybody. We know we learned from our first dad, right? Adam, that woman you gave me, and Eve like, well, that man, or God, you told me, is to stop all that and go, whatever's happened to me, whether it's self-inflicted or it was brought on to me, I'm taking responsibility for. That takes courage. And man, if a man can do those 3 things, fourthly, I'll add this, it takes courage for a man to intentionally grow. Not just grow, intentionally grow. That takes courage because it takes discipline, it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes all the things that are inside of us and not exterior.
Yeah.
It's all the character. Character is what's in us.
Nice. Yeah.
Building that is what really takes courage.
Powerful. JT, I've received so many emails the past 2 months of men saying, I'm on the verge of quitting. I've lost my job, no work, no pay for me. I don't know where I'm going to get the money. Can you please pray for me? Anything that I could do? And they were asking advice from me. But I think one of those things that I believe needs to be answered is this: where do you find the courage to fight life's battle?
It goes back to our first podcast. I find courage in the men that I hang around. Because sometimes I can't talk myself into courage. Sometimes I need to be pushed. And the only way that I can be pushed is from another man.
Yeah.
Telling me, and it's like everybody knows Muhammad Ali, right? But hardly anybody knows the guy that was in his ring with him that was the whole time, you're the champ. You can do it. You're going to knock him out. And all of us need those people to go, you know what? I can do this. If you believe in me, then I'll believe in myself and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know any other way. It's hard to talk ourselves into courage because left alone, we'll do the easy.
Yeah.
We won't do the hard. We'll do the easy. So I don't know. That's the only thing I got on that one. I need help.
Yep. So that's why we encourage all our listeners. If you're part of a local church community, find other men who who could help push you towards courageous living. And you've got to be in proximity with all these men that JT has been mentioning about, because that's the only way sometimes, we can quote all the verses. You can message us online, but I don't know if it would really help. You've got to have other men that you really know who can push you to live a very courageous life.
Absolutely.
So you got to have other men around you. I know there's a lot of talk about social distancing, and then we cannot see and have a flesh to flesh interaction. What can you say about that? You know, having other men around you to push you to courage.
Yeah, I wrote an article for a magazine here called "The Dangers of Social Distancing," and part of that was social distancing doesn't mean social isolation, because when a man gets isolated, and we know this, the enemy takes him out. When he's left alone, it takes him out. So just because I've stayed very connected by Zoom, by Google Hangout, whatever the platform, man, it takes a great deal of courage for. It's different when I'm sitting across from a man, you can look at him in the eye, right?
Yeah.
But I think it takes the same amount to get on a call like this. Because when I do a Zoom, I mean, I got 12 guys on a Zoom most of the time. I mean, you still have to be vulnerable. You can't isolate. You can't, it's like, there's a great picture, Zoom, like right now, I could be wearing this and I could have my underwear on and you would never know. And that's kind of like how we live our lives sometimes. It's like what you can see looks really good, but what you can't see, it's not very good. So again, the courage to show your full self and not be isolated and just reveal everything that's going on in you. And again, I mean, I know, my accountability partner is my wife at this moment, because she sees all, hears all, and I'm not going anywhere. So we've learned a lot about each other too, which has been helpful. But man, I still need my guys.
Yeah.
Even though I can't touch them, feel them, hug them, slap them on the, on the butt cheek or whatever. I still need them. And it just takes courage. It takes the same amount of courage to get on a Zoom as it does to drive down to a coffee shop. And so, look, I just implore your men that you do so well at leading, is stay connected. Don't get socially isolated. It's so dangerous. Stay out, stay distanced for a little bit, but don't be isolated. Reach out to those men and go, I'm doing bad. I've gained 20 pounds in this thing, I'm not doing great. Left to myself, I'm not doing so well. So just reach out, take the courage to reach out and stay connected.
Yeah. So to everybody listening to this, I just want to encourage you this year. I want you to step up and be courageous. When we implore you to act like a man, this is not just a fancy thing that we say, to try to put, just to try to rah-rah you, but really to live a life of courage and to have other men around you to impart that courage and push you to greatness is something that's critical for your survival and for you to thrive in our generation today. And JT, I just want to thank you for being that kind of a man to many other men that are around. I remember in our World Conference how you organized a room of men. Some were professional players, some were Chinese guys like me, some were guys who were old, some were very young. And there's just something contagious about your heart to see other men rise up to the purpose and calling that God has for their life. And I just want to thank you for your ministry. How can our people follow you? Do you have a Facebook? Do you have a community? Follow you?
Yeah. My Instagram is just at JT McCraw. It's MCCRAW. A lot of people think it's a G, but MCC. My Twitter is the same. And Facebook is James Thomas, because, to honor my mom. That's what she named me. So I did my full name.
Do you have your podcast already?
So that's coming up in about 2 weeks. We're going to start one. It's called Renovating Masculinity. And Stephen's my first guest. Mansfield's my first guest. So I hope I didn't peak too fast. I hope I didn't peak, the first one and it's all downhill. But we're starting out with 3 of my friends. And again, it's really just to show what a band of brothers looks like on air. Because we banter and, man, we're terrible to each other sometimes. But that's what manhood is, just fun jabbing at each other.
All right, so we'll just put the link there for all our listeners to go. Renovating Masculinity.
Yes.
JT McCraw.
Yes.
Sounds really good.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So thank you so much, JT, for all your impartation. Thank you for infusing courage in us today, and to our listeners. And again, to everybody who's been watching this, we'd like to encourage you to be part of our community. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd like to encourage you to be part of a local church community where there are godly men who could push you to courage and to greatness. And to all the men out there, please continue to act like a man. God bless you guys. Thank you, JT.
Thank you, Dennis.